Hello everybody, it's me Silent Knight, and in this video I will be showing you guys the gear from my Feca. In my opinion, Feca is at the moment the most fun class to play. I use it quite a lot in my dungeons and in my Infinite Dreams runs, and I know honestly Feca, the way Feca is right now, it's very strong with the shielding and the ataraxia. And there's a lot of moments in fights where Feca just comes in clutch and saves the day in the end. So yeah, that's why I really like Feca, and I got multiple builds for my Feca. So let's go over the builds that I have. So my original build on my Feca is this chance critical damage set. So I'm gonna remove the cosmetics for a moment so you can see the gear that I have. So the head is a kitty bonnet, 1% range damage. I got a 2-piece of Queen of Faith boots, but I don't use the boots anymore, but I will show you guys in a second what I'm using instead of the boots. I got this belt. I have it with water damage exo with a transcendence rune. That is because it already had the critical damage, and back when I maged this, I think the 1% range damage runes were super expensive, so I made it like this. The amulet with 1% range damage, book of Rhinoidal ring with 8 critical damage. That is because I got an AP exo on the cloak. MP exo deep sea bracelet, 4 leaf with 8 critical damage. I got the ethical wand with 1% range damage. I got the Dofuses with a major luster, and I have a blue P-win for the critical damage. 1300 chance, 5 range, pretty nice, and 46% crit, so with the base 5% I'll be at 51% crits. I've got 300 intelligence as well, and 100 plus power with 118 critical damage. Now this set is actually pretty similar to my Panda's chance critical damage set. Actually it's like almost the same except for the pet and some of the mages. But yeah, this is really nice intelligence set. Like I mentioned in my Panda's video, if you're using like Ivory Dofus, you get above 20% resistance on each element, so you can use it for PvP as well. Now, the reason why I don't use the boots anymore is because I'm using the class boots, which is actually my second set. Same set, just the class boots. Now, this set has a little bit less chance, actually 200 chance less. That is because I also lose intelligence, and I have to add some intelligence to be able to wear the ethical wand. So that's why I'm losing quite some chance, but it's definitely worth it. And the reason for that is the class boots actually change 3 of the chance spells that a Feca have. So the first spell is the Cloudy Attack, which now isn't linear anymore. Normally it's linear, so with the class boots you can just cast it anywhere with a 3 to 14 range modifiable, so pretty nice. The roaming glyph, so normally like the paralyzing glyph is the big glyph that you place, but I'm using the roaming glyph, which is just basically a single target 3 AP damage spell with super high range. So with the class boots, this spell has no line of sight, so you can cast it anywhere. Pretty nice. But the most important thing about the class boots is actually making tension 4 AP. So normally this is 5 AP if I'm using the other boots, 5 AP. But with 4 AP you can just cast it a lot more times. Like you can make better combos because 2 4 AP spells and a 3 AP spell, so it's pretty nice. Now the weapon does quite some big damage, so I'm going to show you guys in a second at the pouch. So I'm going to show you guys the damage with the class boots, since you are basically like, if you're playing a chance Feca, just use the class boots, you won't regret it at all. Even if you're like questioning whether you want to use it or not, just get the Queen of Faith boots, get the class boots, play with both for a while, and then you will soon find out that you will never leave the class boots again. So cloudy attack, a little over 800 damage on a crit. So the roaming glyph 3 AP, also 900 damage on a crit. Now, like I mentioned, this set doesn't use a snail mat, so I'm critting a little bit less than on my panda. Bubble 2 AP spell, like even non-crit does decent damage as well. So the weapon does pretty nice damage as well. So on a crit, like 1800 to 2100 damage, pretty nice. And the crit rate is 62%. And on the other spells, let's see. Oh yeah, with the class boots, you're losing out on some crits as well. So the minimum crit rate on normal spells is like 47%, and the other ones like cloudy attack is 57, and the weapon is even at 62. So I think it's decent, not too bad. Like, it's definitely worth losing out a little bit of crits and damage for the change of spells. I mean, imagine only hitting linear with cloudy. Now, my cry is linear all the time, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if there's like a challenge where you can't range raid, then bubble is basically useless. And if you don't need to push enemies like 5 AP tension, you won't be using that often if you're like playing without the class boots, I guess. So yeah, I think the class boots is definitely the best class item in the entire game from any class. Probably after that some pandas class items. I think people talked about the cloak for a moment, pandas class cape, but I think the Feca boots are pretty much the best class item in the game. So let's go over my next set. Now there's a agility set over here that I don't have equipped. I don't have it in my inventory here at the moment, but it's basically my Enutroph set, which I will reveal in a later video where I show my Enutroph set. So it's basically just my Enutroph's agility set. But I do have this agility set, which is basically my old second pandas, his tank set, which has the dragon helmet and the indescribable cloak with agility overmage, 2-piece of Jammy Jack with air resistance exomaged, also MP, exo and air resistance, AP exo barbarian wedding ring, dark cord shovel with melee damage. Now I choose this over the Mantax, which I have over here as well, because this has 2 lines of resistances, and I think well, it has a range, but Feca doesn't really need a range if it's like agility Feca. But like the 2 lines of resistances, I use it for dreams, because this is basically my Feca's tanking set. I have the Possess Shield, which has melee damage, but you don't lose resistance. So this is I think this is the best shield for melee damage characters, because you are not losing out on weapon damage, and you are not losing out on melee or range resistance, like with the Captain Ankama shield, which I have over here as well. You lose out on range resistance. So if you're only hitting CC, this is the best shield in the game. Let's see, I've got the Triton Palms with 4% resistance, Exo Mage, and the Mino belt. Now the Mino's belt isn't originally part of this set, because normally I use the Bluster belt, but this is my dream set, so I'm using a pet instead of a pet's mount, because some rooms are underwater and you can't use a pet's mount, and I don't really want to change my gear all the time, so I'm using the 1 AP pet and the belt, so I don't have to use an Ochre Dofus, so I have a free trophy slot. This set, by the way, has 6 range, so if you're playing a ranged character, you can change out the shield to a range damage shield, or maybe even an air resistance shield, and you can use it for range as well. I've got 1100 agility, 130 power, decent initiative, because I want to start second after my panda most of the time. Resistances are pretty good as well, except for the air, but if I really need air resistance, I could use an air resistance trophy if needed. Now, For the Dofuses, I'm using a Crimson Dofus, Fulbus Dofus, a Emerald Dofus, Abyssal Dofus, Black Spotted for the shield when you don't hit and you gain damage if you do hit. And I got the Major Modifier for the initiative because I want to start second. Now if I don't really need to start second for my Dreams fight, I could use anything else. Basically I could use a Ivory Dofus, I could use the Coco or just some damage trophies, doesn't really matter. I could even use a Prismaridite or something. Yeah, this is basically my Feca tanking set for Infinite Dreams. Pretty nice set. Now recently I got my Feca a new set. So I think I showed this set briefly in my Solar video, where I did Solar in the Infinite Dreams. But other than that, you guys haven't seen this set yet in its full potential. Now, this is so nice. This is pretty neat. So I recently got this set because I saw it on some French YouTuber. There's an alternative of this, like the new set that just came out, where you have like a lot of stats in every element. Now this is pretty similar but cheaper. Like the Salvatore Spirit set is kind of expensive, but other than that, the rest of the set is pretty cheap. Now, this set mainly focuses on full power. No crits, just full power and damage. So I'm using the Salvatore Spirit set, which I completely made myself. So the head has a 1% melee Transcendence rune on it. I focus on maximum power and maximum damage. I don't need the crit resistances, I don't even need the normal resistance like you see here. I've got 8 out of the 10 resistance. I don't need dodge, so I just focus on maximum damage. The belt also 1% melee. I've got, like, it's missing 2 power, but I got maximum damage and it was pretty hard to mage. And the boots also maximum power and damage, 1% melee. The cloak, I've got the Thermal Cloak with maximum damage, all 20, 98 power and 1% melee damage. The Rhinito Amulet with maximum stats and 1% melee. Got the Rhinito Ring with 1% melee because I don't need an MP Exo for this set. I do need an AP Exo, so I got the Hail Ring. I actually got quite lucky with this. I found a cheap one in market not too long after I decided to get this set, because these old items like Hail Ring, they're pretty rare actually. There's not that many people who still using this, so there's not too many in market either, but decent damage and AP. Let's see, I got the same pet, so the AP and power pet, got the Ankama shield. Now ideally I wanted one with a 1% spell damage Transcendence rune, but there were no shields in the market that had a maximum damage and no Transcendence rune. Like most of these shields, people just spam 100 vitality on it, but I just wanted one with max stats so I could put a Transcendence rune on it myself. But yeah, got quite unlucky with that. Got the Blord's Warrior Curse Scythe. I will show you guys in a second why I'm using this. Unfortunately, you cannot mage this, so I can't put a 1% melee Transcendence rune on it. I'm using a Ochre Dofus, Fulbus Dofus, Crimson Dofus, Ice Dofus, very important because of the multiple lines of damage on the Scythe and on the Repulsion spell, which I will show you guys in a second. Major Powerhouse because I don't need crits anyways. In fact, I think my crits are negative 29, so I literally cannot crit on this set. And I'm using a Domakuro. Now the Domakuro is only good for long fights, which last, let's say, at least 5 turns, because in the first 5 turns you will not benefit from it. But yeah, only like fights that last over 10 turns, I think. Otherwise it's not worth it. And in fact, I think the Black Spotted is better, because you gain the 20 damage every turn, so that's pretty nice. Also can use a Abyssal Dofus for the extra AP, because you're starting your turn in close combat pretty much every turn. I'll show you the stats. So 12 AP, 5 MP. Now, like I said, I don't have an MP exo because I don't need the MP on this set, because I'll be carried by a panda. So I got the 1 extra melee damage. This set has only 3k vitality, and that's even with good vitality mages. Now you can literally ignore the vitality and leave this with 2k, but yeah, sometimes you take some damage on the first turn, so having the 3k vitality is not too bad. So this set has nearly 600 power, 500 intelligence and chance, and 400 strength and agility. It has decent, yeah, it has over 100 damage on every single element. You can add the 10 normal damage as well from the hail ring, and when using a black spotted, you also gain another 20 damage. So yeah, it's a high damage set. Now I'm gonna put my cosmetics back on, and then I will show you guys the damage potential on this set. Now I brought my panda here as well to show you guys what I'm basically using this set for. So the thing with this set, when using it in dreams, on turn 1, very simple. Film the boss, obviously, right? And then you gonna MP yourself and carry the Feca. Now, if you don't need the MP because you're already close, you can also use stabilization, but yeah, ideally you wanna lock the enemies so they cannot move. And then Feca plays. Now, there's multiple things you can do in turn 1. If you need a shield, you can just shield. It will shield the panda. You cannot buff yourself when being carried by a panda, but you can use a weapon skill, like you see here. Now, the most important thing is the repulsion glyph. It does damage in every element at the end of the enemy's turn. Therefore, it's very important to fully lock the enemy. So you can shield, and then you can use the protective glyph to get 75% damage sustained on the panda. Now I'll show you guys the damage. So if I pass, 2200 damage I just did with the repulsion glyph, and you basically do that to everyone around the panda. Now you can do it every turn. Now the weapon, also very nice. A scythe does this V-shape AoE. Now the critical hit on this is very high on the damage preview, but you cannot crit on this. So you do like 2100 to 3200 damage. So like here, 3k damage, non-crit. And that's insane, honestly. You can do it to everyone around the panda. Now obviously in PvM enemies have resistance, so you won't be doing 3k damage. But doing over 2k damage with a scythe that does AoE, it's pretty nice. Now repulsion glyph, 2500 damage again. And basically the pouch is already dead. Now there's some other spells that are very good to have. Now like I mentioned, the protective glyph, it is also very useful when using 2 pandas. Because the glyph is around the enemy. Dazzling does AoE earth damage, also does pretty high damage, over 1k damage. Fumulating glyph. Now initially I thought this would give me the 20% damage buff, but when carried by a panda you don't get the buff from the glyph, so I don't really use this unless there's like an enemy with negative air resistance. Burning glyph, I'll finish this fight and I'll show you the damages from the other glyphs, because it's pretty nice, especially because you can stack the glyphs on top of each other. So let's see. So if you know there's like an enemy that pushes you, you can just on turn 1 use stabilization. Starting turn 2 you can use the gravitational glyph. So basically you're secured for the first 3 turns. So let's see, weapon skill. Now let's say I am using the burning glyph. Now using the burning glyph or the paralyzing glyph makes it so you cannot use the protective glyph, so make sure to keep that in mind. Lifelessness steals some intelligence from enemies, so you deal some more damage. The burning glyph does, let's say, I'm gonna film for a moment because I wanna see how much this does with stacked glyphs. So burning glyph 1000 damage. I'm gonna use the repulsion glyph, then I'm gonna add the paralyzing glyph as well. Then you have lateral flame as well to pull enemies close. You got the shiver to pull enemies close, natural attraction to pull enemies close. I think dazzling also pulls enemies close, so all these spells to pull enemies close. So 2800 damage on the scythe, and then let's see how much the glyphs do. 1900, 2500. So basically in one turn I did like almost 8k damage. I think like 7.5k damage, and that's basically, you can do it on 3 enemies around the panda, which is pretty nice. And like you saw in my video where I did the solar dungeon, also I think it was in my Mino run as well. I'm not sure if I used the same set on that. I do think I did. Like, you can basically just play double panda, use a Feca with this set and then another melee damage character, and you can just like tank with both pandas, carry both damage dealers, and you can literally just do that for the entire fight. It's pretty nice. Like, the only downside when using this set is when there's a lot of enemies that push and pull. Especially pulling is pretty annoying. Like, you can avoid the pushing if you're just putting yourself against a wall, but if they can pull, there's not much that you can do except for putting another enemy in front of you. But other than that, this set is pretty nice. Like, I've used it a couple of times now in the Infinite Dreams in combination with a double panda and an agility IOP, and I was just chilling. Like, I was just sitting on my pandas and spamming all the glyphs, and there was literally no way I could die. Pretty nice. Like, I really like this new set. It wasn't too expensive. I just, like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I grinded the dungeons to craft this this set. So yeah, I made it myself as well. So yeah, that's it basically for my Feca. If you guys have any questions about my Feca, let me know in the comments below. If you want any advice, ask me. I will always reply to the comments that I get. And you can also pay me in game on my main character Silent Knight. I'm pretty much always available to help you guys with some advice. And if you like this content, there's a lot more coming, a lot more gear review videos from my other classes. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you want to stay notified. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and bye.